This is the Volkswagen Tayron. Now we're going to do a deep dive into what it has to offer Australian families. But before we do, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our car reviews and motoring advice. The Tayron sits between the Tiguan and the Touareg in Volkswagen's SUV range, which has been expanded to 7 vehicles with the arrival of the ID4 and ID5 battery electric vehicles. There's a choice of 3 petrol engines across the Tayron range. This one here is the new 150 TSI 2-litre engine, and it powers the Elegance and also Life models. The Tayron's available as both a 5-seater and a 7-seater, although it's a bit more of a 5+2 if we're honest, even though there's loads of space in the back. This model we're looking at here is the 150 TSI Elegance, and Volkswagen says this is probably the pick for family buyers. Let's take a look, starting with the all-important second row. First up, the rear seats are heated, so the kids are going to be happy. They've also got USB chargers and there's tri-zone climate control as well, although I have to note that when we get to the third row, there's no air vents available and no USB chargers, so it's a little bit Spartan in the back. In terms of features, there's loads of storage options for all your bits and pieces, including these pockets here on the back of the seat. And I wanted to show you this feature as well in the armrest. So, as well as having the ubiquitous cup holders, we've also got a tablet holder here. So when I'm watching my video, I can pop it in here and I can twist it around and get the perfect viewing position. Now, when it comes to load carrying, this is a really flexible car. And one of the things I like about this second row is the ability to fold the center seat forward. So there's loads of space for carrying gear. But let's have a look at that all-important third row. How practical is it? And one of the things you can do, and it's essential to get into the third row, is slide this second row forwards. And it comes forward a decent way, which is just as well because adults might find it a bit of a squeeze to get in. So I've squeezed myself into the third row. Now it's worth noting that this second row at the moment is pushed all the way forward. So you'd want it to come back a little bit. So this person here would have some leg room, but at the moment, I've got plenty. One thing I would say about seat comfort is these third rows, the back is upright. I prefer to have it to recline just a little bit. There's also no rear air vents, so it's getting a little bit warm in here already. So I wonder how you'd go on a long trip. But this is a fairly decent amount of space for a 7-seater, and we've still got loads of room in the boot. So let's go check that out. With the recent arrival of the Golf and the Tiguan in Australia, you will have likely noticed this lighting signature, and it carries on the Tayron. All models have got a powered tailgate too. So like I say, there's plenty of space back here for luggage, even with this third row in play. If I take this boot floor out the car, you can see one of the best features of this vehicle, which is a space saver spare. It's not ideal. We would prefer a full size, but it's definitely preferable to an inflator kit. Now the technology game is pretty strong in this Volkswagen. The infotainment system is all driven through this large colour touchscreen. There aren't a lot of physical buttons to control a lot of the systems, but you can use the voice rack and it's pretty good. Hello Ida, turn up the air conditioning controls. There's a couple of USB chargers in here and also twin wireless phone chargers, which are really handy. But what I like here is that we can actually put this little shelf down, so there's no temptation to look at your phone while you're driving. And you can even configure the centre console, move the cup holders out of the way, or make additional space here. We're on the road in the Volkswagen Tayron. The first thing to note is the gear shifter. It's based on a stalk on the right-hand side. So it's pushed forward to pop it into drive and then pull it back to pop it into reverse. Now, a couple of times, because I'm not really used to that configuration, where I've gone to operate the windscreen wiper, I've actually hit the park button, which is less than ideal. But it's definitely something that you'll get used to. On the road, this 150 TSI engine is nice and responsive. There's different configurable modes, so you can choose from eco and comfort through to sport. And you can also select different settings for the steering, for the suspension, so you can really set the car up as you prefer. There's also paddle shifters on the steering wheel as well, which enable you to change gears yourself. In terms of the engine and transmission combo, well, it's definitely something that Volkswagen has got covered. The engine is nice and lively, and the transmission, well, it's pretty snappy. So it changes up and predicts where you want it to go very quickly. One of the things that I'm less impressed with is the ride. Just like the Volkswagen Tiguan, it is on the firmer side, which means that you get quite a lot of road noise coming up from the tyres, and the suspension, well, even using the dynamic chassis control, well, it's still quite stiff. So you do feel quite a lot of bumps in the road. Now, I do have one but when it comes to this vehicle, and it is unfortunately some concerns around the build quality. Because this car is so tightly strung, there's quite a lot of noise from kind of creaks and rattles, whether it's from the door trim or from this touchscreen, which is eliciting a bit of a creak, and also across the dash. Now, that's quite disappointing, considering this is a brand new car. Overall, the Tayron impresses. The packaging is sensational, and there's definitely loads of room for a family. The engine and transmission is great, but the ride is pretty hard, and like I say, that's translated to some issues with creaks and rattles. All in all, I think the Tayron has got plenty to interest Australian buyers, and I'm really happy with that price range. There seems to be something for everybody, whether you want a 5-seater or a 7-seater, and having a starting point under $50,000 plus on-road costs, well, that's really attractive. If I had one concern, it would be those rattles that I've experienced on the test drive. My recommendation to you, if you're interested in the Tayron, is make sure you take it for a good test drive first.